What's up, Absolute Fan? It is me, Dr. Anthony, and I got my trusty handy spine here today. We're going to use this for the video. Was talking about to a buddy of mine yesterday, and we were talking about like creating content. He's got an office as well, and we were talking about like what should it is that we talk about in the group, because especially right now people are sitting home. I want to make sure we fill with positive, amazing messages into their feed instead of just continuing to listen to all the craziness out there in the world. So I was like, but I'm just really not that clever. I don't know what to talk about. And he's like, well, don't you like just read research and stuff like that all the time? And I'm like, yeah, but if I talk about that, everyone's going to go to sleep. So if you want to fall asleep tonight, watch this video right beforehand. But yesterday I had the pleasure, we got home a little bit early, and I got to watch 4 hours of content on the science of spinal rehabilitation, which for me is really exciting. And a lot of what we were discussing in this research is the reason why, for example, you oftentimes won't get adjusted where you're in pain or where your issue actually is. And that's hard for a lot of people who are used to a lot of different styles of physical work and physical medicine and body work and chiropractor, whatever else out there, that really address and say, hey, if you have a back pain, we're going to work in that area. If you have a neck pain, we're going to work in that area. Now, with a corrective chiropractic, our concern isn't where the symptom is whatsoever, but rather creating correction, creating the environment for health in the body so that the symptom doesn't have a reason to be there, essentially, right? So this is our handy-dandy spine right here. I'm going to do my best to set this up in the best way possible. So we're going to have to come over here and do this in the best way possible. So looking at it, oh, that's perfect. Our spine should have these nice curvatures here. We have our neck, we have our mid-back, we have our low back curvatures right here. So a really important question that we get is from individuals with low back pain. And oftentimes, an individual with low back pain, we actually start by focusing on the neck. Now, this is obviously different for every single person, so this isn't just a blanket recommendation for everybody with low back pain, but we always actually want to go ahead and understand why. So this is what the low back curvature should look like. What we'll oftentimes get to see is one of two things, okay? What we'll start to see is an individual will actually start to hyperarch this low back like this, or it'll actually begin to straighten. Now what we can do here is if we are hyperarched like this, there's lots of different things that we can do, right? We can go in there, we can adjust, we can get these bones moving, we can take pressure off those muscles and ligaments that'll make it feel better. But if we're hyperarched there, does it make sense that continuing to put a force in here in this direction is actually maybe not exactly what our body needs? What we'll actually begin to do, and the reason we take x-rays, we'll analyze the entire spine. And what we've actually found is that oftentimes this hyperarch down below is compensating for a reversal of the curve up top. Now, your nervous system fires in frequencies and frequencies. Like if you could think about plucking a guitar string, if you twist the tuning peg at the top of the guitar, it will change the entirety of the tension of the guitar string, and therefore when you pluck it, it'll resonate a different it'll resonate at a different frequency, and therefore you hear a different sound. Now, our nervous system isn't working with sound, but it's working with frequencies as well. So our body is constantly trying to keep the proper amount of tension anchored up at the top and down below. So if we begin to work on this curve right here, if this is actually gone in the reverse direction, and we're hyperarched right here, that is our body's way of actually being able to regulate the tone from top to bottom. So what we actually go ahead and find with corrective care is that this is the issue. We might not have a neck pain at all, or maybe we do, but that won't be our primary concern. What we'll actually begin to do is very gently, very specifically, with very advanced techniques and technologies, actually work to begin to restore the proper curvature here in the neck. As we begin to restore the proper curvature here in the neck, our body will often begin to make the compensatory necessary changes in the low back, and oftentimes that's when the symptom that was there will begin to disappear. And not just simply because we we moved the bone, stretched the muscles and ligaments in that area, took an Advil or whatever it was that made the symptom disappear, but because the reason for it to be there in the first place is no longer there. That's pretty cool, right? What we'll always continue to do is monitor those curves, monitor those changes, continue to look at the differences there, augment our technique as the body actually changes. If we do the exact same thing every time, we're not moving in the right direction. So if we're actually making correction, we have to constantly go back and check and see, well, is there something that we have to change now because the body's in a different position? Those are the questions that we ask on a daily basis. That's the reason oftentimes we're not adjusting you exactly where you're feeling that pain or the symptom of that issue. And that's also the reason that we get results, not just in the short term, but the long term. Anyway, hope you guys have an amazing day. I look forward to catching y'all soon.